How about now? Can you hear me now? How does my audio sound on this Tuesday evening? I know it takes a little bit for us to get all set up here, but I do want to show you what we're seeing right now with a line of storms tracking anywhere from Oklahoma City all the way up to the north and into, I mean, all the way up to Kansas. Okay, you guys have my audio, so that's perfect. And you can see that this line of storms is almost entirely severe warned. I think it actually is all the way from Winfield, Kansas, down into Oklahoma City itself. And we do have a tornado warning on going through a very populated area right now. And that tornado warning is radar indicated rotation. So we're looking right in the middle of this warning right here. Nothing confirmed on the ground right now. However, what we're watching for are these notches and these spin up tornadoes in this long line of storms. So we've got another warning that goes from Morrison to Glencoe up to Sumner, Oklahoma, and into Red Rock, Oklahoma. So again, this is right along and to the east of 35 here. Ponca City also included in another tornado warning. And I think all of these are radar indicated. So we're watching for these little notches right here that show rotation in this long line of storms. But let me tell you, one of the most more widespread and impactful thing about this line of storms right here is going to be the high wind that comes with these storms. But 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds is what we're watching for here, which could be taking out a lot of power just as we speak. So let's actually, before we go through the radar, tell me where you're watching from, but let's go up to the northern side of the city and let's get a look at some other cameras up here. Let's see if we can make this a little bit wider. Is that a possibility here? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. So what we're watching for here, we've got some people parked under the overpass. Do you see that right there? We've got some of those flashing lights, those hazards are on as this rain comes in, but it's really the wind. The high wind is going to be the really big thing with these storms right here. 70-mile-per-hour wind is what it's warned for. However, I do think that this gust front could be a little bit stronger here. And I know that for a fact. Well, I know that from experience, I'll say that, because we would have been on earlier, but we are actually, we were in that tornado warning a little bit ago. And so we actually had to take our safety precautions before I jumped on here. So we know that this wind is strong. We know that this storm packs a punch. Actually, you may be able to hear the thunder still ongoing outside of my window right now. So we're safe. We do not need to shelter anymore. So I wanted to jump on here and I wanted to let you guys know what was going on across Oklahoma right now. So what we're really watching for is we're watching for some strong wind. The National Weather Service has this warned for 70 miles an hour. And they also have several tornado warnings out there. So you may be hearing those tornado warnings right now. You may be feeling, and just how strong this wind is. Holy, look at this. Look at all that rain blowing across the road there. Wow. Oh, and okay, now that's a cop right there. Maybe it may be flooded waters. Maybe they're warning of flooded waters. Okay, let's watch what they do right here. Got some really strong winds. We've got the cop with its lights on. Now the semi has put its hazards on. And I'm not quite sure if they're warning about potential flooded waters or if they're saying, hey, let me go. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but it looks like everyone is safe. Wow. And again, this camera is up in the northern side of Edmond. Northern side of Oklahoma City in Edmond. So we're looking right along I-35 here and Highway 66 here. So that's where that camera was. Let's see if we can get some different angles and see what is potentially going on here. We're not quite sure, but still some people parked under the overpass. You can see their hazards flashing on and off here. So let me show you exactly what we're watching. We're looking right here. That's where that camera is. So it's in some of the areas of the heaviest rain The strongest wind has probably already passed to this area. Again, I can speak from experience and say that what we saw from the heaviest wind was just a little in front of this line, just barely, because we felt the wind before we even felt the rain. We could see the lightning, we could feel the thunder, but we really, really felt the wind first. And that's whenever we said, okay, it's absolutely time to take your shelter now. So let me tell you who all is included in this tornado warning right now. So included in this tornado warning is everyone right along 35 here to the east, from Arcadia to Luther to Fallis, Kearney, Wellston, Chandler, Meeker, Kendrick, all included just up the Turner Turnpike here. Now, if we go a little bit farther up to the north, you've got some loud storms, some very, very heavy rain in places like Langston all the way up to Stillwater, Perkins, Ripley, but you guys are in a severe thunderstorm warning. This tornado warnings start up again in Morrison, Sumner, and Red Rock. So we have, let's see what these are warned for here. They're moving to the east at 55 miles an hour. Tornado warning, along with 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds and nickel-size hail. But, I would say we've probably got some stronger wind than just 60s in here. Amber on here asking, will it hit Tahlequah, Oklahoma? So Tahlequah has a while until we get out to you all, but you are included in a severe thunderstorm watch. And that goes until 4 o'clock this morning. So we have a while left on these storms. Great question, Amber. So if you decide to, look at those cars. They're slowing down on the roads here. So if you decide to, go to bed this evening and wake up whenever the storms are hitting you, let's check your timeline out in Tahlequah. All right, let's switch this over here. Okay, so I think you guys can see, yes, you can see the models here on the right side of the screen now instead of the view from, did you hear that light? Did you hear that thunder outside my window? Okay, there you go. So you can see now the models on the right side of your screen instead of the ODOT cameras. So we're going to go through here and we're going to show you exactly what we're expecting as we head into the overnight hours. So what we're expecting here is this line of storms to continue, right? So they're right along 35 right now, headed up the Turner Turnpike and into the southern side of Kansas. This will continue into Tulsa over the next few hours. So we're talking about midnight, 1 o'clock tonight, 2 o'clock, still in the Tulsa area, tracking out to the east. So most likely reaching Tahlequah after 2 o'clock tonight, basically into early tomorrow morning. Most likely ending with the most severe stuff right around 5, maybe 6 in the morning. So yes, this is going to be an overnight thing that will probably start in your area in about 3 hours. So I would say that if you choose to go to sleep, set that alarm to make sure that you're checking the radar in the next few hours. I know it may be a late night for some people, but great question, Amber, about will it hit Tahlequah, Oklahoma? Nathan giving us a report here. Thanks for joining us, Nathan. I can hear the thunder from Moore at Southwest 34th and Eastern. So going down into Moore here, we do have, a lot of lightning in this area. Not too much in terms of, those severe storms. Those severe storms start in about downtown Oklahoma City, going out to Bethany and then into Midwest City and then to places to the north. We just have a few little stragglers down in Moore, Norman, Goldsby, and Washington. But really the severe stuff is farther up to the north into places like Edmond, Guthrie, Langston, Stillwater, and Luther. What other questions do we have here? this evening. We'll just continue to answer these questions as we continue along here. As long as, and we'll continue to answer questions as long as I have power, but we do have storms outside of my window right now, lots of lightning, lots of thunder outside of my window, so we'll see how long we have power for. Let's go back to the ODOT cameras here, and let's show you once again just a view outside of Oklahoma City right now. So what you're looking at here is, I'm a bit interested in what this car is doing. Oh, and they're finally moving because they've been stopped under the overpass for a little bit, and they've moved outside of the road here, but it did look like they were stopped. And, who knows who that is? Maybe it's a police officer helping with traffic. We never know, but it is a good reminder just to kind of talk about never stop under the overpass, under a bridge. Make sure that you're not stopping under the bridges there, especially on the highway. Okay, so moving kind of up the Turner here into places like Wellston, which is included in this severe thunderstorm warning. Just a note here that they have dropped the tornado warning in places like Arcadia, Luther, Wellston, and Chandler, but we still have that severe thunderstorm warning ongoing in that area. 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail is what we're seeing with this warning. Now, also another note here, and can you guys hear the thunder? Is it picking up in my microphone? It is loud out there. Holy moly. I mean, it really does. It sounds like you put a mic to a bowling alley. Like, it is very, very loud, just over and over, that rumble, that crashing over and over and over. It is very loud out there. I don't know if it's being picked up on the microphone here or not. But returning to the severe thunderstorm warning at hand, right in front of us, Guthrie, down to Oklahoma City, Stillwater. You guys are hearing exactly what I'm hearing, right? You're seeing the lightning outside of your window. You're hearing the rumble of thunder currently right now. And again, this warning goes for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail, but I really think the hail is not going to be a really big deal here. I think it's going to be that wind. Yeah, no one's asleep in Oklahoma right now. They are all up from this lightning and thunder outside of their window. It's packing a punch as it moves through here. John saying, I can hear it. Now we have a few more questions here asking about places like Kansas City. We've got a lot of Kansas City questions here. So let's go up to Kansas City. So we're all good in Kansas City right now. I'm not terribly worried about Kansas City at the moment, but let's just do a little mini forecast as we're waiting for these storms to make their way through Oklahoma. And just a note about those storms, no more tornado warnings from these storms. We do have several severe thunderstorm warnings for 60 and 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and some small hail in this area as well. But a lot of you have been asking about Kansas City and just the forecast for the next 24 hours, because we have another chance for storms tomorrow too, right? So let's go up to Kansas City here. And get you a quick little forecast. Wow, it is loud out there. Okay, so here's a look at your forecast. We're looking at the NAM nest here. You guys probably hear us talk about our different models. We use the HER, or people call it the HRRR, the NAM nest, the Euro, the GFS. And so what you're looking at here is the NAM nest. And I think it does pretty decent, but we'll look at a few different models here. So what we are seeing here is storms going through Kansas City. time is this? Yeah, if you were going to get them maybe about now into the overnight hours, but as you can see from the radar, you're not getting storms in Kansas City. I'd give it a few more hours and you're probably in the clear. You're not in a severe thunderstorm watch though, so I'm not terribly worried about Kansas City tonight. Let's go to tomorrow night. You are right on the edge of the risk for tomorrow. Now, most of those storms are going to be to the south and east of you tomorrow, but let's continue progressing this future radar here. Yeah, maybe just a few storms tomorrow. I'm not terribly worried about the storm risk tomorrow either, though. So Kansas City probably missing out on storms other than just a rogue storm or two that could hit your area. But I really think that, I mean, you can tell exactly where the storms are going to be tomorrow, anywhere from the southeastern side of Missouri all the way up to central Illinois and into central Indiana. And tomorrow we do have an enhanced risk into southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana. So right in here. And once again, you can see, do you see this area right here? This like bowing structure right here. It makes that backwards C shaped right there. That indicates that we're going to see strong wind once again. So very similar to something that we saw tonight, what we're expecting to see tomorrow as well. And we're seeing that right now in Stillwater. Look at that. We're seeing that backwards C-shaped structure in Stillwater right now as well. So you can see the similarities between the two radar views here. This is your future radar out in Indiana tomorrow. And then this is your current radar going through northern Oklahoma, north central Oklahoma. And eventually that's what we'll be moving through Tulsa. And I know someone asked about Tahlequah earlier as well. So by the way, if you weren't on here earlier, I see we have a lot of people jumping on from Twitter right now, from X. We have a few people jumping on Facebook, and then we have a few people on YouTube as well, but the majority of our viewers coming from Twitter. So if you have any questions, let us hear those questions now. If not, I'm going to let you head to bed so that you can rest up for storms expected again tomorrow. Now, just a little note, because I think that most of our viewers are watching from Oklahoma right now. Let's go down to Oklahoma's forecast for tomorrow because I'm actually kind of curious. Here's tonight. So this is the storms going through about right now into Tulsa in the next few hours. Like you can see how fast they're moving right now. They're moving about 55 miles an hour. Continuing to track through the state as we head into early tomorrow morning. So maybe you're waking up with a little bit of rain here in Oklahoma early tomorrow mornings for your morning commute. Then we are going to continue throughout the afternoon. Let's see. What we have here? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's put the right screen view here. So we head into the afternoon hours. Most of those storms are going to stay to the south and east of Oklahoma City and Tulsa tomorrow. So to the east of the Turner Turnpike, to the east of I-44. Let's go to a different model. I'm just kind of curious what this. Now, the HRRR, the HRRR wants to bring storms closer to the city, closer to the Turner here, and then farther down into south central Oklahoma. So I'm kind of toggling back and forth. If that is to happen, if storms do initiate tomorrow, then we are expecting those storms right along afternoon into the evening hours. So this is four, 5, 6, 7 o'clock right here. Afternoon and evening hours. Yes, I'm going to stick with that forecast here. What other questions do we have this evening? Or I guess this nighttime? It's very late at night. It's about 11:24 here. Now, tomorrow, for these afternoon and evening storms, some of the biggest risks are going to be that hail risk again. Here's the deal. The tornado risk is very, very low tomorrow. That is great news. It's really going to be that hail and high wind once again for your Wednesday. So very similar to storms that we saw today, we're going to see that hail and high wind risk for tomorrow. Now, that hail risk looks a little bit more impressive tomorrow than it did today. Today, these storms are just moving so fast. It's hard for hail to organize up there as these storms are moving so quickly. So we had some pretty small hail today, if any at all, across central Oklahoma, but we are expecting some larger hailstones for tomorrow, maybe up to the size of a golf ball. And of course, still those strong wind speeds as well, about 70 miles an hour. And again, that was for Oklahoma. Also, watch the flooding risk for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, watch this radar view again. Okay, so right, these are your storms. Actually, go a little bit. Hey, we have a brand new tornado warning that we'll talk about here in just a minute after I get through this radar view right now. So there's your storms right about now. We are expecting a little bit of rain to continue, especially up into places like Tulsa, northeast of Oklahoma City, through your early morning hours tomorrow. So we're talking about the early morning commute. It could still be rainy in both metros, Oklahoma City and in Tulsa. It could still be rainy in these areas. So here's early tomorrow morning as you're headed to work. Still pretty rainy. So again, watch for that flooding risk early tomorrow morning as you head to work, because we could still see a very intense flooding risk in this area. And we're talking about not only from the rain tonight, but also from the additional rain that we're getting tomorrow morning, and also the rain that we got a few days ago that has still left our soil so wet. I mean, I think a lot of people can relate. We can't get out and mow. It's hard for the dogs to come in without those muddy paws. We've just gotten rain after rainstorm in the state here. And, those may be minor issues, but you get more rain on top of it, it causes a major issue like flooding. Whenever we get more rain on top of that and the soil is already saturated, where does that rain go? It can't go down into the soil. It's already saturated. That means it goes off into our roadways and our highways, and that's what may cause an issue early tomorrow morning with this additional rain that we're expecting into the early morning hours, probably starting right around or shortly before your commute and ending right before lunchtime, or at least getting a little bit more sparse by lunchtime. And then after lunchtime, we'll see a few isolated storms at first with increased widespread storm coverage into the evening hours, but I think this is a pretty conditional risk. There's no 100% chance with this risk here, just so you guys know. Zoom down a little bit more into this. Play this once again all the way through. And there's the storms tomorrow. Alrighty, let's go back to our traffic cameras here because we still have just tons of thunder and lightning ongoing out there right now. It is very, very loud across Oklahoma right now. Watch those lightning flashes. You can see especially like the gleam from the water on the roadway here light up every time that the lightning flashes in this area. And I'm watching and I'm monitoring the chat just to make sure that there are no questions that I've missed here. Oh, here's a great question. I think that this is a very common question, especially in the summertime, because derechos are a lot more common as we head into the summer months. Sire ask, or the sires ask, is this a derecho? No, this is not a derecho. That I think, and I can double check, is over like 200 miles of high winds, 70 miles or stronger. Let me Google this just to get the exact definition. Okay, I was very, very close here. More than 240 miles with gusts at least 58 miles or greater along its path. So very, very close here. Let's go back a little bit and show you where this thing began. So going through here and give this just a minute for the radar to populate. It'll take just a minute for all of this data to come in. And while it does that, I'm going to get an idea of just how long this thing has been going here. So if we start at the very beginning of this line of storms, we started to see warnings up in Wichita today. Let's see, let's get an actual line of storms ongoing here. Here. You're starting to see this line of storms congeal. And we actually had several storms through Wichita today. Just a quick side note here. Wichita this morning started out with a wind gust of over 100 miles an hour. This afternoon, right around 4:30 or 5 during their evening commute, they had another line of storms come through the city with 60 to 75 miles an hour wind speeds and some small hail. But it just intensified from there because they had another round of storms just a few hours ago before those storms came down into Oklahoma City, which brought what is this, golf ball size hail and 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds just over and over and over. But these are little cells right here. They finally congeal into a big line of storms right near Cherokee, Oklahoma, Fairview, Oklahoma. So if we were to draw a line from Fairview, Oklahoma, all the way down to Chandler, where the storms are right now, that's only about 80 miles, 81 miles. So we need another 160 miles until this is defined as a derecho. And I don't think that we're going to get there, because if we fast forward a little bit here, we are expecting those storms to start to weaken as they go into the eastern side of the state. So I don't think that we're there quite yet. And I don't think that we're going to get there. So again, this is where these storms are right now. We have a line of storms that have strong wind and very small hail, anywhere from Oklahoma City all the way up to southern Kansas right now. One brand new bit of information here is that we have a brand new tornado warning. You can see that little divot in our long line of storms. And this was radar indicated, issued by the National Weather Service, moving to the southeast at 50 miles an hour. And the warning goes until midnight tonight. So what we're going to probably see continue are these little notches in this long line of storms here, and we're going to see some high wind with this as well. So Tulsa, actually, officially, this is a very wide warning here, really giving Tulsa plenty of warning as these storms move through, not only because these storms are moving really, really fast, but also because we know that we have some really strong wind with this, and we know that this will probably continue over the next few hours. So here's your warning for Tulsa. 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail moving to the east at about 45 miles an hour. This warning goes until 12:15. I'll look and see. Things moving pretty fast here. making a direct line for Tulsa right now. So Tulsa, you probably, if you are in like the center portion of Tulsa, you probably have about 30 minutes until you really start to feel these winds. If you are on the west side of Tulsa, I would shorten that by about 15 minutes. This thing is moving really, really fast here. And I can tell you from experience that the winds start before the rain does. So you're going to feel those really strong winds before you even get a drop of rain here. You're going to see the lightning. You can probably already see the lightning off to the west, and you're going to hear the thunder. And Sawyer saying, I bet the clouds ahead of this line are crazy if it was daytime. Yeah, you know, I don't have my phone, my personal phone on me. I only have my work phone on me, but I was outside before these storms came into our area taking pictures of the storms, and you could see the structure of these clouds and how it was kind of laying out like a pancake. It was really, really impressive. There was so much lightning in the sky. It was lighting up the sky so much that you could really see the structure of this storm. It was very, very impressive. So, yeah, it looked even cooler in the daytime, but it still looks pretty cool right now. Let's move around our ODOT cameras a little bit. Let's go up to Tulsa. You know, we've stayed in Oklahoma City for quite some time. Let's kind of make our way up the Turner Turnpike here. So we're going to Wellston. Here's Wellston. I think we've got either some emergency vehicles or maybe just some caution lights there. Heavy rain ongoing in Wellston. We've got one person on the highway right now. Let's continue our way up the highway and get into Tulsa here. We may be able to see some of that lightning as we get into Tulsa. We can look back to the west. Oh, yeah, look at that lightning. And you can see, do you see what I'm talking about here, where we have layers of clouds? Kind of see that right there. So again, this camera is coming from like south of Berry Hill and the Oakhurst area, just to the west, just to the east of Sapulpa, and we have a gorgeous view of this lightning coming into Tulsa right now. And let me show you on the radar exactly what we're looking at. So our camera is sitting right about here, and we are looking to the west at these storms that are about 30 miles away, maybe a little bit less than that, in Oilton and Drumright. Yeah, a little less than 30 miles, about 20 miles really. If we just draw a straight line out here. To Gilcrease here. Everything's pretty quiet out in Gilcrease and 2nd Street. You can probably see, yeah, you've got a lot of lightning going on in Tulsa, right? Or going on outside of Tulsa that you can see from inside of Tulsa right now. These storms are moving pretty fast, so they'll be in Tulsa before you know it. You know, one thing that was a bit of a concern here in Oklahoma City was that, oh, okay, let's go back to this camera. I liked how this camera looked. Was that we were a little worried about the power outages, but if I check our power outages right now, what do we have? Okay, so we have quite a few customers without power in Kingfisher right now, about 500, about 1,500 in Logan County, about 600 in Payne County. This is honestly a lot less than I expected. I expected more to be without power. But that was one of the concerns as this line came through Oklahoma City and the Edmond areas, that people were talking about us losing power. So to go ahead and charge all of our devices. So all of our devices are still plugged in the case that we do lose power. I think that we're pretty much in the clear as you move farther back to the Oklahoma City area, except for those here highlighted in red. So we're talking about Wellston all the way down to Meeker, Sparks, and Prague. We still have an ongoing tornado warning that ends at midnight tonight. So we've got 21 more minutes left on that. And we're talking about a very difficult thing to spot here. So these tornadoes that pop up in a line of storms here are very difficult to spot. And what we're watching for are these notches in radar that could indicate a spin-up tornado. And just a reminder here that a spin-up tornado does not mean a weak tornado, but it could just mean a very fast tornado. And often with these line of storms, it's a very fast moving tornado as well, moving very, very quickly, about 45 to 55 miles an hour. Any other questions on this Tuesday night, almost Wednesday morning? Before we head out here, I will show you just those who are watching from outside of Oklahoma. I don't know if we have too many of those who are watching from outside of Oklahoma, but we do have another risk for storms tomorrow. That's mainly in the eastern side of Oklahoma. Maybe a few storms right along the Turner I-44 and to the southeast. Now, I think that's a little conditional, so that's not a guarantee that it's going to happen. But if it does, your biggest risks here are going to be large hail and high wind. That tornado risk tomorrow is very low in this area. Much more impressive as you head up into Missouri, central and northern Illinois, all the way southern Illinois, northern Indiana, all the way up into places like Michigan and Ohio. And I do have to say, with this type of system right here, what happens tonight could greatly impact what happens tomorrow. So what we see from these storms that are ongoing right now could greatly impact what happens for tomorrow. So if anything changes, we will be keeping an eye on it, and we do a live forecast every single day right around noon. And then what we do afterwards is we stay on and we answer questions after the forecast. If you have any questions or comments, we stay on the comment center. We end the live, and then we answer your questions in the comment section until about 1:30 or 2-ish. So if you watch that late tomorrow, or even if you watch it right at noon, 12:10 is usually whenever we hop on, then you can ask any of your questions about the forecast, if there's any changes or if there's any specifics that you want to see for tomorrow. So, here's your wind, here's your hail risks according to the SPC for tomorrow, but we break it down a little bit deeper than that on our noon forecasts. And then for Thursday, we have another risk for storms anywhere from Montana all the way up to the northern plains into the Midwest and then out to the East Coast. We've got another risk for storms on Thursday. And I don't think, whenever I checked on Friday storms, no, we don't have anything for Friday on, but that doesn't mean, again, things can change pretty quickly this time of the year. And we are getting into some of those more summer-like storms that are more nocturnal. They come a little bit later in the day. Not necessarily these storms tomorrow, but that's something that we begin to see a lot more often this time of the year. Here's a look at your power outages right now. Power outages are not as bad as I originally expected. We've got about 500 without power in Kingfisher County, 1,500 without power in Logan County, 600 without power in Payne. Garfield, maybe one of the hardest hit here, about almost 2,000 without power in this area. And we don't have any updates quite yet on these counties like Creek and Pawnee and Osage that are just outside of Tulsa. That's where storms are moving through right now. A ton of lightning with these storms that are moving through here. Again, with these storms that are moving into Tulsa right now, The biggest risks are going to be 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. Still, we have a tornado risk. We do. But it's going to be a lot lower now than it was earlier. It really has turned into just a wind machine here. Let's see from the Oklahoma Mesonet if we can get any information on updated rainfall totals or even updated high wind gusts. Here's one very interesting thing. Let me share my screen here. Look at that temperature change. Wow, it's a lot colder in places like Oklahoma City than it is out in Norman. A big change in temperature here. So a lot chillier tonight. You don't have to run your AC as much in places like OKC, Yukon, El Reno. Got a warmer temperatures farther down to the south. A very clear divide from who has gotten storms and who hasn't gotten storms yet. You probably have gotten storms if your temperatures start with a 6. Your temperatures are in the 60s, you've probably gotten storms already. If you're in the 70s or 80s, you're probably just about to get storms or are currently getting storms right now. All right, let's see what our rainfall looks like right now. Not a complete update quite yet. I bet we'll see higher numbers on this by the morning or maybe within the next few hours. Don't forget in this area that we will get more storms tomorrow morning, so we could probably get a little bit more rain. Not necessarily that it's potentially severe, however, it's going to be more of a rain event, a flood event tomorrow morning, right around your morning commute. And wind is another thing. Ooh, look at your wind gusts. 67 miles an hour. Updated at 11:35, so pretty up to date here. That's in Oilton. Again, this is the storm that's moving into Tulsa right now. So you're going to have some strong winds. We've got verified strong winds with this, 60 to 70 miles an hour that's moving into Tulsa right now. Max wind gust from today, 65, 67. So that may be the strongest wind that we've seen, at least from the Mesonet, from the Oklahoma Mesonet, 67 miles an hour out in Oilton. There's some pretty strong wind right now. Very impressive storms that are coming through right now. And again, Oilton just got those storms. So now the storms that produce that high wind gust are moving into Lawrence Creek, Lotsie, Sand Springs, and eventually Tulsa within the next maybe 15 minutes. More rain behind it. And if I play this all the way through, you can see that rain. This is about 3 hours ago. Maybe about 1 hour ago. And then you can see that rain making its way into Stillwater through the overnight hours. Not as much lightning with this, but there's a little bit of lightning in here. Just kind of moving this back. I wanted to see if we could get any wind reports, but the last thing that I see, and I'm quite surprised by this, the last wind report that I see is back in Wichita and 65 miles an hour at the Blaine Mesonet, or I guess the Watonga Mesonet here. So we had a 71 mile per hour report here. Alrighty, any other questions before I hop off of here tonight? I'm gonna get some sleep so I can be well rested and give you another forecast tomorrow at noon. Oh, here's a good question. How good was the hail in Wichita, Kansas a bit ago. It got hit earlier too. Yeah, it got hit like 3 times today. Wichita, Kansas started out with a 101-mile-per-hour wind gust down at the Eisenhower Airport early this morning, We saw a lot of trees down up in Wichita early this morning. And this afternoon, we had some small hail. I don't think that this radar goes all the way back to that hail this afternoon. Oh, hang on. It was small, but we had a lot of wind from storms that came through right around your evening commute, 4:30, 5:30-ish. An overturned semi out by the Sedgwick Zoo. But really, I think the impressive hail that you're probably talking about right now is that third round of storms for the day, and that came in just a few hours ago in Wichita. We have Goddard with golf ball size hail in this area. We again, strong wind associated with these storms as well. By the time these storms got into Wichita proper, the only reports that we have are quarter size hail, but let me actually check with our hail trace maps and see if they mapped anything larger. Oh, hang on. Oh, the Wichita wind and hail maps, they're everywhere. Okay, so yeah, Goddard got hit the hardest in this area. About 5,000 houses hit with some pretty decent sized hail, went right over the airport, and then this storm started to die out near the McConnell Air Force Base. But if you go a little bit farther down to the south, I think we got a 3-star hailstorm with this storm that went through Arkansas City. And oh yeah, the hail looks really impressive in this area. Okay, so if you are following us on Facebook, or if you're not following us on Facebook, go ahead and do that tonight. But if you're following us on Facebook, you can see all of the hail pictures that we have seen tonight. Some really, really big hail. Our meteorologist mapped hail size was 4 inches. That was our max hail size in this area. So some massive hail down in Arkansas City this evening. And we've got some great pictures at hailtrace.com as well. And then we've got another little swath with some really large hail about the size of a golf ball around the Wellington area. Wow, that Arkansas City hail was really impressive. Great question, Cole. The camera that you see on the side of your screen is a camera out of Tulsa. So this will be on the west side of Tulsa. Let me show you exactly where we're looking at here. So here's your current radar. And we are looking at the camera. I think it's like right here. So it's watching all of this lightning come in. It's watching this big long line of storms come in, but we can really see the line of storms because of the lightning. It was a lot more photogenic earlier. We can kind of hop around Tulsa here and see if we can get a better view. Off in the distance, you can see that line of storms. Oh yeah, look at that. Very interesting question. Are you from Oklahoma? I am from Oklahoma. I am from Oklahoma, went to school in Norman at OU. I am a meteorologist. Hail Trace is also located in Oklahoma, in Edmond, actually, which is why we talk about storms across the entire country, but we actually took a little bit to get on today because we were under a tornado warning. So I was taking my precaution, and then right after we were safe, and we're all good. We didn't have a tornado in our area. I don't know if there was one confirmed at all. I don't, not to my knowledge. Then after, we were safe, then I hopped on to this live stream here, and now we're talking about Tulsa, and I actually grew up in Tulsa, so I have a great knowledge of Tulsa, and I love covering storms in Wichita because I lived in Wichita for quite some time. So I know the Wichita area very well, which is why I know that Arkansas City is pronounced Arkansas City. Yes, that is the correct way to pronounce Arkansas City. It's not Arkansas City, it's Arkansas City. 4-inch size hail out in Arkansas City today. Really impressive. But yeah, I grew up in the Tulsa area, lived in Wichita for a little bit, so I'm very familiar with this area. Great question here. And some great lightning coming from our Tulsa cameras. I still think one of the best cameras that we can see, or that we have coming out of Tulsa, is this one right here. Some great lightning. Very fast moving clouds. This is a fast moving storm, so it makes sense that those clouds are fast moving too. That's actually something that we noticed as this line of storms came through Oklahoma City, is that it was such a fast moving system. I mean, you could see it. You can see it on the cameras right here, just how fast these clouds are moving. Once again, the camera that you're looking at is right here. So we're about to get rain. And I can tell you that you probably will have the high winds first before you even get a drop of rain here. So these storms coming through Sand Springs, Sapulpa, Tulsa right now. Oh yeah, and do you see these? You see this? It looks like maybe some sort of trash blowing across the street here. You guys saw that too, right? Oh yeah, here we go. Got a little bit more trash blowing across the street. So again, just to reiterate what I said earlier, is that we have those high winds before we have the rain. So you can notice in this area that we don't have a drop of rain yet, but we have things blowing across the street here. So the wind is strong enough to pick that up and start to move it around. So expect that if you're in Tulsa, you're going to have that wind well before you have the rain. Either way, if you're included in this severe thunderstorm warning, let's see, warned for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and nickel-size hail, you should probably be inside. You don't want to be outside whenever this storm rolls through. A little bit of rain here. Right along 412. A little rain in this area. Oh, and maybe some power outages. Okay, we may be able to check on our power outage map again here in just a few minutes, because we're not having these cameras load anymore, so we may be getting some power outages in this area. Ooh, look at that rain come in. And these trees blowing, you can see the trees blowing in the distance there. Look at that tree go. I'm gonna kind of do a little around the cameras here. We call it around the radar whenever we look at all these different severe thunderstorm warnings. But I think, is there a better word? Is there a better phrase, around the city? This camera's shaking up and down. Do you see it wobble right there with all that high wind coming in? And you can start to see some of the first few raindrops as well as they get swept across the road. You can see them illuminated in the street lights right here. And a great view of the skyline in the background. The rain's still coming in pretty strong here. And this has been our camera for the entire night, but it looks like it's not as impressive as it was earlier. Alrighty, let's just keep on going through some of these here. Maybe getting some power outages in this area. We'll have to check back with our power outage map here in just a few minutes. Going a little bit closer to downtown Tulsa. Yeah, all these cameras are starting to go out, which happens whenever the weather comes in. And then once these storms are done, they'll pick back up. Let's do a little refresh here. All of our cameras may be down. Or maybe an ODOT thing. Let's check on our power outages while we wait for those cameras to come back up. Power outages look a little bit more impressive up in Kay County, Oklahoma. So we're talking about 1,300 customers without power here, 500, 900 without power. And now our first few updates without power in Creek County, about 277 without power, and that'll update probably within the next 10 to 15 minutes. And Tulsa County itself, about 28 without power. So what we do know from that, what that tells us is even though that number is pretty small, that tells us that that this storm is packing a punch and that it is knocking out power in portions of Tulsa already. It's just barely entering into Tulsa right now, but it is packing a punch. Let me get some updates here out on social media. So if you guys have any more questions, let me know as we continue to watch these storms come into Tulsa. Any other questions here on this very late Tuesday night? Let's go back to our ODOT cameras and see if we can get any more updates from these cameras or if our stream is just not available anymore. Okay, we've got cameras back up. Let me switch over here. I can't believe people are out on the roads during this. You know, something that we saw in Oklahoma City whenever this went through Oklahoma City is people were pulling over, basically saying, I don't want to drive in this. They were pulling over. They were hanging out either under the overpasses, which you should never do, or they were hanging out just on the side of the road. Another thing that we saw in Wichita earlier, I mean, it's just been like windstorm after windstorm. So I talked about Oklahoma City just a minute ago. Now, what we saw in Wichita around rush hour today, 4:30, 5 o'clock this afternoon, evening, was we saw a semi flipped over in Wichita. And that video is on our Facebook page and our YouTube pages right now. So if you're curious about that video, and actually it took a really long time for them to get that semi flipped back over. There was an area down by the Sedgwick Zoo that was down to one lane for a long time, which is a tough area to be down to one lane at during rush hour traffic. Ooh, look at that lightning. Holy moly. This is a little bit closer to downtown Tulsa that's getting hit really, really hard right now. We're getting some really strong winds into this area, lots of lightning and thunder, and some heavy rain as well. You know, one thing that's going to help the flooding impact, the flooding risk. So we're going to have a flooding risk by early tomorrow morning. If not right now, early tomorrow morning, absolutely. And one thing that's going to help the flooding risk here is going to be that this thing's moving fast. I mean, it's trucking down. What would this be? Is this like Route 66? 244? It's moving east very, very fast here. And that's going to help to limit our rainfall totals. And that's going to help with the flooding risk early tomorrow morning, which is great. All righty, just a update from some of these questions that I'm getting in right now. Noah saying, I'm in Tulsa. We've got another, I'm downtown in Tulsa. So yeah, you guys are getting hit really hard right now. You've got very loud lightning and thunder coming in. You've got a ton of it. You've got very loud winds coming in as well. About 60 to 70 miles an hour is what we're seeing from those winds, and it's sweeping the rain across the street as well. A little update here. The winds are tremendous. Yeah, these pack a punch, absolutely. Now, the strongest winds that we have seen so far within the last hour was out in Oilton. And that is the direct line of storms, if you just kind of draw a line into Tulsa, that you guys are getting right now. And what they got was about 67 mile per hour wind speeds. Yeah, so the wind is really, really intense here. Now, here's the really good news is that the tornado risk is pretty low in this area right now. So while it can't be ruled out, it's a very, very low risk. And let me actually zoom out just to make sure we don't have anything. No, nothing is tornado warned right now. The highest winds out of this entire system is probably coming through Tulsa. So if you draw a line from Shawnee all the way up to Pawhuska to Sedan, Kansas, the strongest winds out of this entire thing probably going through Tulsa at this moment. But it looks like people are probably, I mean, you're still driving fine on the highway. We've got tons of lightning out there. Holy moly. You can check on Cherry Street right now. Go a little bit farther to the east here. So where you're probably going to have the strongest winds, and we've got people flashing their hazards really bad right here. So oftentimes whenever we see people flashing their hazards, that means that they're having trouble seeing in front of them or they're having trouble driving on the roadways. That's oftentimes what that means, is they're warning other people around them that, hey, we're having a pretty difficult time right here. And they want people to know that around them. As I was saying earlier, where you usually see the strongest winds in a line of storms like this is just out in front of the rain itself. So what you'll see is a strong line of winds come through, and then you'll get your first raindrops. So where we're probably seeing the strongest winds right now is a little bit farther to the east of this line. So let's see, probably, and we'll probably have another, oh, we already do have severe thunderstorm warning. So yeah, we're probably seeing some of the strongest winds out in places like Broken Arrow, which we don't have a camera for right now, probably struggling with those high winds to get a feedback. You can see the trees blowing in the distance there. Still semis moving fine on this camera view. Let's just keep going around here. Bet we'll get some great lightning. Oh yeah, some great lightning from this camera right here. We have a few more updates from people out of Tulsa right now saying my power went out. Yeah, in Tulsa, you probably are going to see power outages. This is a great opportunity for us to check those outages as well. Let's go into the Oklahoma power outage map. And we do see an update to about 300 customers without power, but I bet that is a little behind. So we should probably see that number go up pretty significantly within the next 10 minutes as those numbers catch up with the actual power outages going on right now. It seems that way, doesn't it? Nathan's saying that these storms always seem to travel up I-44, and we've got great lightning right now. I know it's a ton of lightning at the moment. And if it sounds anything like it did here in Oklahoma City, that thunder is loud. No one is sleeping right now in Tulsa. We've got some very, very loud thunder ongoing right now. Wow. This lightning is almost mesmerizing. Let's kind of jump around to a few more cameras here. So now if we go onto the west side of Tulsa, the rain looks like it's died down pretty significantly here. We do have ponding on the roadways, pretty significant ponding on the roadways here. So you can see the road spray that this semi is kicking up in the middle of the bridge here. So that flooding risk has already started, and unfortunately we have more rain behind this rain that's coming in right now. That rain will probably die down a little bit, but not completely stop even into the early morning hours. So as you wake up and as you hit the road for your morning commute tomorrow, make sure that you are staying weather aware of those potential flooded areas. You kind of know the drill here, especially by this time of the year. Turn around, don't drown. When in doubt, take another route. I hope that these silly little sayings get stuck in your head so that you don't get stuck on the roadways. Lots of water on the roadways here. Yeah, watch these cars kick up the water here. And I'm monitoring the chat. Here's a great question. Is the second band due to hit later tonight going to be as bad as the front of the storm? So basically, is the rain that we're expecting early tomorrow morning expected to be as bad as what you're getting right now? No, I don't think so. I think that this is the worst of it. And what you'll get as you head into early tomorrow morning has the potential to be severe. However, I think really what you're going to see tomorrow morning is that flood risk. That's going to be the biggest risk as we head into the early morning hours, as we head into your early morning commute. It's going to be the flood risk. Willie's saying the power is out here as well. Where are you at? Tell us where here is. Just general area, Tulsa. Broken Arrow? Are you up in places like Owasso? Tons of lightning with this storm here. We do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning issued, and that goes all the way out to Claremore, Pryor, Adair, Wagner, Muskogee. Very similar to what we've been seeing all night tonight, 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds and penny-size hail. Willie's saying BA. BA is without power as well, or portions of BA. So let's go back. And that's something that we said earlier, right? The highest wind speed is going to be just a little bit in front of the actual rain right here. So you may lose power before you even get a drop of rain. Let's go back to our power outages. Let's see if we have any significant updates here. We're seeing this number go up. We're at about 780 customers without power in Creek County right now, about 1,300 without power in Payne County, and about 186 without power in Lincoln County. Jinx getting some of the strongest storms right now, or at least maybe some of the strongest downpours, just an absolute downpour out in Jinx. Let's go a little bit farther. Not any great cameras out in Jinx. That one. Ooh, tons of lightning here. Wow, great lightning strike in the distance there. Holy moly. Now, something that we haven't talked about in a while, and if you're just jumping on here and wondering what is going on, if you may be waking up from these loud storms outside of your window right now, and the thunder and lightning are going to continue for a little bit here. But one thing that I do want to note, and that is a good kind of rule of thumb to always remember with a non-meteorologist, maybe you're just waking up from the lightning and thunder outside of your window and you're saying, what in the world is going on? And you take a look at the radar. If you see this backwards C-shaped right here, this line of storms from Beggs all the way up to, let's see, Ramona. I hope I'm saying that correctly, Oklahoma. But you see this line of storms, right? That's making this backwards C-shaped. It's a bowing structure on the radar. And what that often means is high winds in your area. And often whenever we see this, it's extremely difficult for large hail to form. Oftentimes we can also see little spin-up tornadoes. However, I don't think that's the case in this area right here. What we're really watching for is that high wind. And we can see that immediately whenever we look at the radar and notice this bowing structure right here. It's like a backwards C-shaped, kind of a crescent shaped right here. And so if you are just waking up with us and wondering what in the world is going on, it's high wind. That is what is going on right now. Lucas is asking a great question right now. Any hail near Tulsa? I would say if there is any hail at all, it's going to be extremely small. Whenever storms move this fast, and they're moving about 65 miles an hour to the east right now, actually picking up speed from what we saw earlier, moving a lot faster than what we saw earlier. When storms move this fast, it's very, very difficult for large hail to form. You can get it, but it's pretty difficult. So I would say if you're getting any hail right now, it's pretty small. That wind was wild. Luckily, no damage or power loss. Thanks for the update. We appreciate that coming in from YouTube right now. And if we look at our power outage update at the moment, we're up to still the same as earlier, 780 without power in Tulsa. And if we take a look at the Oklahoma Mesonet, just your very quick view of what we're seeing from your high wind speeds, actually some of the highest wind speeds are up in Winona. So that would be, to kind of reorientate myself right here. So there we go. Up in Winona. So just to the north of Hominy, Oklahoma. That's where some of the highest wind speeds are right now. We've got 50-mile-per-hour wind speeds in Hectorville right now, 40 out in Bixby, and 26 in Tulsa. So the worst has truly passed you in Tulsa. Moving back to our ODOT cameras, showing you just a crazy lightning storm that's going on in Tulsa right now, a loud thunderstorm that's moving through your area, along with those high winds that are blowing these trees back and forth, and oftentimes even blowing our cameras up and down as well. They're wobbling up and down. Dominique is saying, I'm here as a truck driver. It sounds like someone is tearing the sky apart. I love that wordage there, tearing the sky apart. I was saying earlier, whenever these storms were moving through Oklahoma City, that it sounded like someone had put a microphone to a bowling alley. But I love that visual there. That's what it does sound like. It's so loud, and it's just like rumble after rumble after rumble of thunder, just over and over and over. It doesn't stop. But the good news here is that these storms are moving through relatively quickly. So you may be awake right now, but you can go back to sleep after these storms move through, and they'll move through pretty quickly. So you can go back to sleep here pretty soon and hopefully not lose too much sleep tonight. I know as a truck driver, you may not be going to sleep, but maybe you can hit the road here pretty quickly. This is a phenomenal question here. I think we may get another round around 6 a.m. for Oklahoma City. Do you know how often they update the weather models? It depends on what weather model you're looking at, but let me switch over to our weather models here. So this is something that we were looking at just about an hour ago. And we'll get the latest run of the HER, I think. Let's see how far this goes out. All the way through tomorrow morning. Okay, so here's what we're seeing right now. Storms going through Tulsa right now, moving off to the south and east with a line of storms farther back to the west. It's doing a pretty good job of handling this storm structure right now. As we progress throughout the next few hours, again, I told you that you can go to sleep for now, but you've got another line of storms that are farther back to the west. So make sure, especially those of you in Tulsa and to the south of Tulsa, make sure that you have multiple ways to get your weather alerts, because if we see high wind start to ramp back up in your area, then you need multiple ways to get those weather alerts and stay weather aware even through the overnight hours. But yeah, you're correct that we could get another line of storms as we head into the early morning commute, right? Look at this right here. We're about 5 a.m. and we're seeing those storms pop back up right along the Turner Turnpike from OKC to Tulsa. One of my biggest concerns with this line of storms is not necessarily that wind or hail. It's possible, but I really think it's going to be the flood risk through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. You're getting a ton of rain right now, on top of a lot of rain that you already have gotten. Most of Oklahoma is pretty saturated right now. Where does that water go once the ground is saturated? It goes off into our roadways and our neighborhoods and our highways. So that would be something that I would be absolutely watching for during the morning commute, would be that flooding issue. You guys know the drill here. Turn around, don't drown. When in doubt, take another route. You hear it all the time. But again, what we're seeing right now, hang on, let me switch back to your cameras here, is we're seeing as these cars are on the highway here, there's already runoff on the highway, right? There's road spray behind these cars. There's piles of water that are already piling up on the highway here. The rain's going to let up a little bit, but it's still going to be raining through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. So that water is really going to struggle to find a place to go. So we're going to see that flooding risk all the way through early tomorrow morning. The severity of these storms tomorrow morning, I think, will be questionable. But great question about the morning commute. Yeah, it's going to be rainy. Absolutely. And it does look like the National Weather Service of Tulsa already has a flood watch in effect from now until 1 o'clock on Wednesday. They're expecting right around 1 to 3 inches of rainfall with locally higher amounts, which means 1 to 3 inches is a pretty general number. In your neighborhood, you could get more than that. It's going to be isolated, but you could get more than that. What they're watching for is excessive runoff, flooding in low-lying areas like creeks or streams, and rises of the main stem rivers. I'm just kind of reading their wording here. But again, that flood watch goes from Highway 40 all the way up to basically northeastern Oklahoma. Questions here. It's neat that you have the roadway live cam network. Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty good at navigating it as well because I've been doing this for many years now. So I'm pretty good at navigating it. Ooh, we just got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. So this is another thing, we talked about that these storms have moved out of the Tulsa area right now. Most of the lightning and thunder have moved out as well. But you've got another round coming for you here. So again, that rain is not stopping through the overnight hours. I bet this wind, however, I bet it's warned for lower wind speeds. No, they kept 70. I'm a little surprised by that. They kept the warning going for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. So just a brand new warning here that goes until 1:15 this morning. Barnsdall, Skytook, Owasso, Claremore, Oologah, all included in this brand new warning that goes until 1:15 this morning. Your biggest risk here will be high wind speeds up to 70 miles an hour. They also have quarter-size hail in here. 1-inch size hail is also possible here. I think this will resonate with a lot of people here. Willie says, I used to live on the East Coast, and for some reason it seemed like the power grid was better there, even during a hurricane. Hell Trace is located in Edmond, Oklahoma, so we're pretty local to the Tulsa area. I think you guys can relate to this. We like to say that the power can go out, is more likely to go out on a bright sunny day where nothing is going on, no weather is going on, than like a super stormy day like today. Like our power did fine tonight as we got those storms. But you give like one squirrel on a very sunny day and the power goes out really fast. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Still raining on this side of town. You can see all that water piling up on the roadway here. Amazon, it's got your packages. It's headed to your house. Man, they're trucking even during the storm. Justin is asking, how does it look? How does Eufaula, Oklahoma look for tonight? Let's see. So we actually have several questions about not only Eufaula, but also the Tahlequah area. So let's switch back to our radar here. So this is your future radar, what we're expecting to happen. This is the HRRR model, or the HRRR. You may hear people call it the HRRR. Pretty decent model. This is the most updated run. Yeah, and it is fully uploaded here. So we answered Tahlequah earlier. We said within about the next hour, we're expecting storms to move into Tahlequah. One little note, these storms are moving a little bit faster than I think we originally expected. So these storms are expected to move into Tahlequah. I think I said by 2 o'clock. We're going to make that 1:30, maybe even earlier. Moving on to Eufaula. Eufaula, this model has storms moving in by about 3 o'clock this morning. So we've got a little bit until storms get to you. Yeah, haven't hit you quite yet. Actually, are you guys even included in this watch? Yeah, you're barely included in the watch. So the watch goes until 4 o'clock this morning. So you guys are going to be on the end of that 4 o'clock, right? You're not going to get storms probably until about 2:30 or 3 o'clock this morning. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Fayetteville is included in the storm risk tomorrow, right? Yeah, you guys will probably get another round of storms tomorrow. So from Tahlequah to Fayetteville, these storms are moving really, really fast here early this morning. So this is like 7 o'clock this morning. You're probably getting storms in Fayetteville. And flooding looks like a pretty high likelihood in Fayetteville as well as you head into your lunchtime hours. It's just round and round and round after storm. Oklahoma, tomorrow, it looks like storms will set up right along the Turner Turnpike. So we do have another round of storms tomorrow. Some models want to pull these storms right here a little bit farther up into Oklahoma City along 44. Some models want to keep these to the south. So I think that getting storms once again tomorrow afternoon and evening in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, questionable, uncertain, possible, but not 100%. We'll have to see. We'll have better information on this tomorrow. Alrighty, we have some reports of some wind damage in Tulsa right now. Let's read these off to you. So I'm not quite sure you can see the wording on the screen, but I can see it, so I'll read it to you. We've got this first report where my mouse is hovering is for 6-inch limbs down near 51st and Yale. Ooh, some really some larger tree limbs down in Sand Springs. What else do we have? High winds up in Winona and 64-mile-per-hour wind speeds up in Osage, Oklahoma. It's just a ton of lightning with this line of storms here. Holy moly. This entire severe thunderstorm watch goes until 4 o'clock this morning. Even for Kansas? Let's see. Yes, even for Kansas. Even for Missouri? Yeah, even for Missouri. Got a few updates here. We always appreciate your updates, so we appreciate you guys commenting on our mainly YouTube channels right now. Noah's saying, I'm in Wagner. It's hitting right now. We've got another report saying Nowata tornado sirens are going off. So sometimes I'm actually kind of surprised that they're doing this, but it may just be because it's at night and we're seeing some really high winds with this line of storms because we don't have a tornado warning right now. Just kind of going through these warnings here, seeing maybe why the tornado sirens are going off. Most likely because of these high winds right now. So yes, we're seeing some power outages across the state. We're also seeing some high winds in this area as well. So that may be a reason for the tornado sirens or the outdoor warning sirens to be going off right now, warning people to not go outside in this, but to stay indoors, especially if we've got tree limbs broken off. And what we saw earlier was debris being blown around in the road as well. See if we can get a look outside of Catoosa right now. Holy moly. There's a ton of lightning with this here. We've officially reached that time of the night where people are now asking about storms that we covered earlier this evening. So we have a question about, where did it go? Perry, Oklahoma. Perry, Oklahoma. Yeah, if you live on the south side of Perry, you're probably getting another round of lightning and thunder, very similar to what we got earlier tonight, but without all of the strong winds. So it may be loud for you right now. However, you are not in a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Perry, Oklahoma, I think one of your biggest risks, especially a little bit farther to the south of Perry, into places like Orlando and Mulhall, one of your biggest risks here is going to be that flooding. So we already have water on the roadways from storms that we got around 11, maybe is that like 11:30 tonight? Yeah, we've got another round of storms once again, right? You're going to have a ton of rain from this, and you're going to continue to have rain. Look how much rain is farther back to the west that will be moving across 35 right along this area into Orlando and Mulhall and Langston and Stillwater. And what that's going to do is that's going to cause a really bad flooding risk, not only for the next few hours, but most likely into the morning commute. So Perry, you could probably see flashes of lightning, rumbles of thunder right now, but the severe risk is very low. Pryor, Oklahoma, about to get hit here. Choteau, Maisie, Wagner, all about to get hit here. Yeah, this one, JHH on YouTube saying more of a lightning producer. Yeah. It's wind, lightning, and thunder, and rain. So it's going to be a flooding risk for tomorrow morning, an early alarm clock for a lot of people. But really the severe risks here, wind is going to be your biggest risk here. These severe thunderstorm warnings are for 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds and penny-sized hail. It's pretty small. This is what we like to call pocket change hail. Mary asking, has there actually been a tornado spotted in Nowata? I have not seen any reports of that. But I think in Oklahoma, it's up to the local emergency manager, potentially maybe your fire chief or your police chief in the area, to determine if those tornado sirens or outdoor warning sirens need to go off or not. So it may be different in every single city or every single county if those outdoor warning sirens go off or not. That's completely up to them. And they could warn for high winds. Yeah, especially, especially right in here from Oglesby to Lala to Oologah. 80-mile-per-hour wind gust is what this severe thunderstorm warning highlighted in here with that black box around that severe thunderstorm warning. Jamestown, all included in that what they're calling a destructive storm for Ramona and Talala. 80-mile-per-hour wind gust, that does enter into the destructive category. And oftentimes what you'll get from 80-mile-per-hour wind gust is that WIA to go off in your phone. It sounds like it stands for wireless emergency alert, and it sounds like an Amber Alert going off on your phone, alerting you that you have extreme conditions in your area. So whether that be a tornado or massive hail or high wind, it'll tell you on your phone what that alert is for. But 80-mile-per-hour wind speeds will trigger that WIA on your phone. And that warning goes until 1:15. So we still have another 30 minutes for some of these really intense wind speeds. What is the Mesonet saying here? Are they confirming these wind speeds? I don't see that, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible. May leave this up for just a minute. Yeah, we were kind of going over this earlier. The Weather Channel is forecasting a second wave. And the Weather Channel is forecasting a second wave in the next couple of hours through North Oklahoma. What are you showing? Yeah, I mean, we've already got that second wave coming in right now, moving through places like Perry and Stillwater and Guthrie right now. So we'll absolutely see another round of storms here. Now, the severe risk here is pretty low. Basically, what this is going to be is a flood event for now. Now, this will continue and almost redevelop by early tomorrow morning. So let's go through your timeline here. Here's your storms right now. Early tomorrow morning, even more storms. I mean, I say tomorrow morning, it's basically this morning, right? We are officially into Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday, everyone. We have storms forming once again around 5 o'clock this morning and continuing into the early morning hours your morning commute, continuing into your morning commute right along the Turner Turnpike here. So we're talking about from as far west as, what would that be, like Weatherford, Oklahoma, all the way out to Oklahoma City and into Tulsa, all the way up to the north and east. We've got storms coming in right around your morning commute. So yeah, another round of storms is likely in your area. This is not the only round of storms that you're going to get today. And this is not the only round of storms that you're going to get on Wednesday. You've got one coming in for your morning commute. And then another round by the evening hours as well. Some models want to bring that as far north as the Turner Turnpike, and some want to bring that a little bit farther down to the south. Alrighty, going back over to our ODOT cameras and perfect timing. The lightning is crazy here. Yeah, it is. And it'll be ongoing. It'll be loud for you as well. It's very, very loud. I can attest to that. We got that just a few hours ago in Edmond, and it was just insane. I've heard a few fun comments about the lightning tonight. One person said it sounded like the sky was being ripped apart. Now, I said it sounded like a microphone was being held up to a bowling alley. Other people have said this is basically a lightning producer. But thanks for joining us this early Tuesday morning. No, wait, it'd be early Wednesday morning. You guys can tell how tired I am. Don't hold that against me. I've been up for a very long time. Going through some of these ODOT cameras here. We still have ponding on the roadways here. This is going to be a flooding issue tomorrow morning. I just know it. Kind of go around the entirety of Tulsa, see if we have anything else that's terribly significant to talk about here. Lots of lightning out there. The majority, I mean, the strongest part of this storm has now already passed off to the east of where our ODOT cameras are. So we can see, yeah, we've got still a little bit of rain as we go up to the Creek Turnpike and the Muskogee Turnpike. And still tons of lightning in this area, and that's most likely going to continue for quite some time. That's not going to stop anytime soon. It's going to be loud as you fall asleep tonight. Even with this non-severe line of storms, we still have a ton of lightning and thunder with this. And that will track into Tulsa over the next few hours. Just a reminder here that we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Tulsa itself. I know that we've got some people like Tia from Owasso on right now. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning for you guys for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. The strongest winds are up in Oglesby, Ramona, Vera, Oologah. Brand new here, brand new tornado warning for Locust Grove, Salina, Tag Flats, Kansas, Oklahoma, Sycamore, and Maysville. So a tornado warning in this area that goes until 1:30 this morning. We've got another 45 minutes left on this warning. What we're seeing in this area is actually very interesting. Not only is this warned for a tornado highlighted here in this red box, but also golf ball size hail, one of the largest hail risks that we have seen all night long. This tornado warning goes until 1:30 this morning, and it's moving pretty fast here, moving into Locust Grove at about 55 miles an hour. So we'll put that information up on the screen. One thing that the National Weather Service is saying here is that they are saying that this is just a reminder that this is radar indicated. No confirmation at the ground, but with these overnight storms, these nocturnal storms, it's extremely difficult to get confirmation at the ground. And even more than that, you know, these bowing lines of storms, you can't see a clear opening to see a tornado in this area either. So it's extremely difficult to see confirmation of this. So again, it is radar indicated. Tornado warning again, moving into Jay, Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colcord, Sycamore, and Maysville, Oklahoma, almost to Arkansas here. I'm going to look at some other radar products and see. This looks like in Tulsa or in, oh yeah, the notch is not very well defined right here, but it's much more defined on my radar scope app that I have out in front of me. And oh yeah, it's not very well defined at all right here. What we're watching for is an area in the Wycliffe area, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. I have a feeling I'm probably not saying that correctly. It's becoming a little bit more defined right here. What we're watching for is this area right here. Got a great velocity couplet, and it is officially confirmed. So there is a confirmed tornado on the ground right now near the Salina area, moving to the northeast at 55 miles an hour. This warning is for a damaging tornado that is confirmed on the ground, moving into Bull Hollow, Tag Flats, Wichita. I hope I'm saying that correct. Just to the north of Snake Creek here. Again, that purple, that pink line means that this is no longer just a tornado warning, but now we have increased this, enhanced this to a confirmed tornado warning. And let me zoom out actually so that you guys can see. Sometimes we get so far into this warning, we don't know who's not in the warning. So just zooming out, let me show you who is not in that tornado warning here. Tahlequah, you have a severe thunderstorm warning for some very, very strong wind speeds at about 70 miles an hour, but not in that tornado warning. I know that we have some people from Owasso and Claremore watching right now. Still, you have a severe thunderstorm warning, but not a tornado warning, okay? So just some important distinctions there, that that tornado warning is hugging the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line just to the east of Pryor and Salina, Locust Grove, Tag Flats, Twin Oaks. That is where we have that confirmed tornado warning. Now that confirmed tornado itself is closer to the Salina area right now. Much clearer now. Much clearer now. You can see that hook coming into view here, and now my radar scope app showing storm relative velocity does look like it's starting to fall apart. So we hope that it is. But I'm not going to say that quite yet, because we still have a tornado warning. That tornado warning is still confirmed. Another person asking about hook on in the Hulbert area. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's basically right outside of Tahlequah. So we're looking over here. And I'm looking on my radar scope, which is just right in front of me. And I see exactly what you're talking about here. Now, it's not defined enough, it seems, for the National Weather Service to put a tornado warning out right now. Sometimes they go ahead and do this a little early. There's actually 2 areas that we're watching for in that area in Tahlequah, one to the north and one to the south. I am more concerned about that northern edge. It's not a very well-defined couplet. It's not a tight couplet yet. So we are seeing some potential rotation, maybe higher up in the atmosphere, but not necessarily at the surface. What we know with this storm that's moving into Tahlequah right now is that we've got some really, really intense winds going on with it right now. I don't see a tornado warning with this quite yet. It's possible. And I wonder with this severe thunderstorm warning if they put tornado possible on here. Yes, they did. So they put a TOR possible on this severe thunderstorm warning, basically saying that we're going to warn it for strong wind, large hail in this area, quarter-size hail in this area, but we cannot rule out the chance for a spin-up tornado. It's extremely difficult. The National Weather Service of Tulsa has an extremely difficult job right now to identify these spin-ups on radar. And just a quick update or a quick note on the word spin-ups. You know, we say a spin-up tornado. That doesn't mean a weak tornado. That's a very common misconception. That does not mean a weak tornado. What that means is a tornado that can drop down very quickly and then come back up into the cloud very quickly. So to prevent just warning this entire thing or long lines of tornado warnings, which is not what we want at all, we don't want to have any inaccuracy here, they often do this severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tag, basically saying head to your safe place, but we cannot confirm that there is a tornado on the ground right here. I hope that makes sense. Basically, we have 2 levels for tornado warnings here. We have that severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible, tornado warning, confirmed tornado warning. We're getting a lot more reports. If we go back into the Ramona, Ulaga, Talala area right now, some really high wind in this area. So we're talking about high wind up to 72 miles an hour. That's coming in from the Oklahoma Mesonet, a very reliable source there, and another high wind speed of about 60 miles an hour, and that's coming in Ulaga from the emergency manager. in that area. So we know that we have some strong wind back in this area from Nowata all the way down to Ulaga, maybe even into Foyle. Foyle warned at 70 mile per hour and quarter size hail. Some really, really strong winds in this area. Just kind of a note from storms that are ongoing in the Guthrie and Cashin area right now. I know that you can even hear the thunder. We've gotten reports that you can hear the thunder up in Edmond. No severe thunderstorm warning right now. No severe threats to talk about right now. Everything is below that severe threshold. Where we're seeing the strongest severe storms is now out in the Tag Flats area, down to Moody's, down to Tahlequah, which now officially has a tornado warning. So we talked about this earlier, where we can go from severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible to tornado warning to confirmed tornado, right? We have different levels here to signify the threat that is in place right now. And we officially have a tornado warning. So let me read you some of the wording from the National Weather Service here to give you an idea of what they're watching for. Not only are they watching for that potential tornado, but they are also watching for golf ball size hail. This was radar indicated, so not confirmed, officially confirmed. Okay, brand new information here. Officially confirmed tornado warning, officially confirmed tornado. Moving into Tahlequah right now. Moving into central Adair and east central Cherokee counties. At 1 a.m., a confirmed tornado was located 4 miles to the northeast of Tahlequah, moving at 65 miles an hour. That is a very fast-moving tornado. What the National Weather Service is saying here is a damaging tornado and golf ball size hail. Radar confirmed tornado is what they're saying here. Radar confirmed tornado. So again, some of the areas, some of the cities that are located in this tornado warning include Tahlequah, Park Hill, Wellings, Briggs, Eldon, Christie, Barron, Marietta, Stillwell, and Westville. Again, to zoom out and show you exactly what we're looking for, here's Tulsa. Included in a severe thunderstorm warning on the north side of the city and on the east side of the city. There's your long line of storms that is creating the most commotion right now with heavy rain and high wind speeds. And then there are your 2 confirmed tornadoes on the ground right now near Tag Flats and down near Tahlequah. I'm reading a lot of your comments here. We've got a lot of comments coming in across. What I'm seeing here is our Twitter, that's where most people watch, but we also have a ton of people on YouTube right now, and we also have a few people on Facebook at the moment. So we go across all platforms. So we've got comments coming in from all places, and I'm reading all of your comments here on the side of my screen. And we appreciate you guys watching here, and we appreciate you guys joining in for our live coverage tonight. We cover the entire country, so we appreciate you guys jumping in here right now. One question says, I see a CC drop near Briggs. Yeah, that's what the National Weather Service was talking about whenever they said that this is radar indicated tornado. Basically, that means that they saw that CC drop too. They also saw that rotation from storm relative velocity. And the couplet looks pretty decent right now, but I think really the most impressive thing about this is that correlation coefficient drop. And basically what that means, for any of you who are not weather nerds like us, what that means is that we have debris lofted into the atmosphere, debris lofted into that cloud, most likely because of a tornado. And so that's why they went ahead and confirmed this tornado warning to increase the portrayed risk in this area, to show you that this is a very serious situation. So we've got people asking right now, how does Tahlequah look? Well, you need to be in your safe space. You absolutely need to be in your safe space. This is not a, hey, maybe there's a tornado. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground right now in Tahlequah. Radar indicated. That was the National Weather Service's information. Few more updates here, and we appreciate all of your updates, is that we have lost power in Nowata. And I want to give you an update from Tahlequah as well. If you see this area highlighted in green over Tahlequah, this is a brand new update actually from the National Weather Service that is reporting a tree on a house at 96th and Newton Place. So we have a brand new update from the National Weather Service reporting that a tree has most likely fallen onto a house at 96th and Newton Place. This is in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, really showing us that, yes, this is a confirmed tornado. It is creating damage on the ground right now. And again, that's what this pink line means right here. You often see that red box or that red polygon for a tornado warning, but whenever it is a confirmed tornado warning, confirmed being the key word there, that box turns from red to pink. And it is continuing to track to the east here from Tahlequah into Briggs, into Eldon, Christie, Barron, and Westville, all in the path of this tornado right here. We'll go up and check on the other warning now. So let's go check on the other warning that's in the Cloud Creek area, Colcord, Sycamore area, Tag Flats, Bull Hollow. It looks like, let me go ahead and check my. Pretty difficult to spot here, but in between Cloud Creek and Sycamore is where we see that tornado right now. This is so far away from the radars that it's very difficult to spot exactly what's going on at the surface. We can see what's going on higher up in the storm, but it's difficult to see what's going on actually at the surface. But it does look like the National Weather Service is sticking with this confirmed tornado warning. Again, radar indicated. So they're really going with this, you know, they saw that CC drop earlier indicating that there was debris lofted up into the storm. And we still have some pretty decent rotation in the higher elevations of the atmosphere. And this warning goes until well, let me see. We may have an update here. Okay, let's wait for the update. And while we're waiting for the update, let's get another check on this warning that is down in Briggs and Eldon, and it's moving to the east at 65 miles an hour. And now this tornado warning goes until 1:30 this morning, so we still have another 22 minutes left on this tornado warning right here. And an update on this tornado warning, I told you we would get an update. This also goes until 1:30. So we're talking about Jay, Sycamore, Colcord, especially on the south side of Jay, south side of Sycamore, really maybe even into Sycamore proper. That's where we're watching for this tornado to go through right now. Yeah, we're going back and forth. Again, I think a lot of people are joining in from both inside this warning and also inside this warning, because people are saying tornado in Tahlequah. Yes, probably now to the east of Tahlequah, but yes, there was a tornado in Tahlequah earlier. And then we've also got some people joining in from Jay and talking about Jay, Oklahoma as well. Just to kind of zoom out real quick, just to give you guys in Tulsa an update. You may be having some high wind in Tulsa right now, probably some lightning and thunder, as you can see from the camera on the right side of your screen. However, that warning, those tornadoes that are confirmed themselves, that is farther out to the east of Tulsa. Keep going to the east of Inola, go right along the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line, and that is where we have those confirmed tornadoes right now. So just an idea of where you're looking at here across, sometimes we zoom so far down into the warning, we forget to zoom out and say, what are we actually looking at here? Cal, yeah, we've been seeing this all night. This is something that we were watching out in the Nowata area as well, or just the south of Nowata. That's why we have a 72 mile per hour wind speed right here. We're getting winds on the backside as well. Yeah, absolutely. So you're still going to have some really strong winds. And I think that's what this severe thunderstorm warning is. Yeah, I think so, because it's for 70 mile per hour wind speed. So even after this tornado passes, we're still getting some really strong straight line winds. Also, by the way, the Tulsa news stations, Fox 20, Fox 23, News on 6, just phenomenal meteorologists at those stations. But I love that you guys watch both. Definitely a lot of lightning and thunder in Tulsa. Absolutely. And a lot of people asking, what about this second line of storms? Are we going to see anything important? Are we going to see anything significant from this second line of storms? You've got rain going on in Tulsa right now, right? And you want to go to bed and it's thundering outside your window and you can't decide if that's going to be a thing that's going to put you right to sleep or if that's something that's going to keep you up all night long. I get it. I get it. As a meteorologist, I never want to sleep through the storms because I want to make sure that we're alerting you all of those storms. So I totally understand that concern. But just to put you at ease a little bit here, all of these storms on the backside of this initial line of storms, okay, I'm not talking about Claremore, Pryor, Adair, Chelsea, Langley. You still have high wind gusts in your area. Go a little bit farther to the west into places like Tulsa, Bristow, all the way back to Watonga, Oklahoma, on the other side of the state. We are not severe warned in this area. However, what we will see in this area is ongoing rain, at times heavy downpours, all the way through tomorrow morning. And what that's going to do is that's going to cause a flooding risk, a ton of rainfall, which will lead to a flooding risk as we head into the early morning hours, especially if you have an early morning commute. I would absolutely be aware for that flooding risk. Give yourself some extra time to head wherever you're going because you may have to reroute yourself if you get into a high water situation. You guys know the drill here. Turn around, don't drown. When in doubt, take another route. I hope these things are annoying enough to keep you safe tomorrow morning whenever we will have a flooding problem in this area. And I say this area, it's a good portion of Oklahoma. Anything north of I-40 will probably be in the flood risk for tomorrow. Going back to this tornado warning here, just an update on that storm outside of Jay, Oklahoma, because I'm seeing some people hopping in from Jay, Oklahoma right now. Yeah, you absolutely have some strong winds in this area. However, you are no longer tornado warned. The only tornado warning that we have in the entire state of Oklahoma is out in Eldon, which is just to the east of Tahlequah. Christie, Marietta, Barron, Fairfield, Westville, all still included in this tornado warning that goes until 1:30 this morning. Golf ball size hail and damaging tornado is going to be our biggest threats and most hazardous conditions here. One person asking Glenpool, okay or no? Glenpool, yeah, you've got a little bit of lightning and thunder out there, but nothing to be too concerned about. Again, that flooding risk is going to be something that you have to watch all through the overnight hours tonight. But if you have to get out within the next few hours, you're going to have ponding on the roadways, but you are not in a severe thunderstorm warning in Glenpool, Oklahoma. You are good to go to bed. However, make sure that you have several ways to get your weather alerts. So if something does pop up through the overnight hours or early Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon, because we have another risk for storms Wednesday afternoon, probably to the south of the Turner Turnpike, but it could get up into Tulsa. We'll just have to see what happens tomorrow. Anyway, make sure that you have multiple ways to get your weather alerts so that you can be aware of any of those storms that pop up. But for now, no severe warnings on your radar right now. Lots of questions about Tahlequah. You are still getting some really strong winds in Tahlequah right now. You've got tons of lightning and thunder, so I'm sure that it's either waking you up or it's, it's a little intimidating to get just rumble after rumble after rumble of thunder over and over and over. You do not have a tornado in your area in Tahlequah right now. There is a confirmed tornado that's moving into Christie, West Peavine, Westville, and Stillwell. However, in Tahlequah, no tornado right now. You will have some strong winds, so stay inside over the next at least 15 minutes, and then we'll see what the National Weather Service does with this warning right here. What we have been seeing is oftentimes they'll warn it a little bit farther back to the west just to account for some of these winds that will hang out and sometimes gust up to 60, 70 miles an hour on the backside of this line of storms. However, we'll have to see what exactly happens over the next few minutes. We've got a lot of questions here. Norman, yeah, you guys are fine in Norman. No storms in Norman. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch that includes Norman until 4 a.m., but no severe weather, not even a drop of rain in Norman. Stillwell, Oklahoma. Stillwell included in that tornado warning, confirmed tornado on the ground. Now, I do think it'll go to the north of Stillwell, but I still want you to be in your safe space for the next 13 minutes, okay? Give us at least 13 minutes here. Be in your safe space until this tornado warning expires. Lots and lots of questions about Tahlequah right now. You guys are not in a tornado warning right now. However, you still probably have some high winds out there, and it's just the thunder is nonstop, right? stay inside until the severe thunderstorm warning expires. We've got another 25 minutes left on this warning. Now, here's something that can relax you a little bit. It's only warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds. At that point, it's essentially your garden variety severe thunderstorm warning. So the threshold for severe thunderstorm warnings is at 58 miles an hour. So we're just above that threshold. We did have a confirmed tornado in the Tahlequah area, moving from like the Holbert area up to Tahlequah into Briggs and Eldon just a few minutes ago. That is ongoing right now to the east of Eldon and moving into Christie right now. Still worried for Stillwell. Yeah, I see your comments on here. You're going to have some high winds. If you don't already, you're going to have some high winds. So stay in that safe space right now because you could have some really strong winds. Enid. Go back to Enid, Oklahoma. No severe warnings for Enid right now. However, you probably have some lightning and thunder outside of your window and some ongoing rain. Now, Enid, you're going to be some of the first to finally see this rain let up. You probably will see some of that rain stopping just a little bit in the next few hours. And then you may see a few more storms early tomorrow morning, but nothing severe ongoing right now. If you are not in the far northeastern side of Oklahoma right now, you do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's just continue to zoom out so you can see exactly where you are. Enid, nothing severe. Oklahoma City, nothing severe. I know, I've heard the reports that you can hear the thunder up in Edmond, Oklahoma. Nothing severe warned right now. Okmulgee, Muskogee, nothing severe warned right now. North of Tulsa and most of the Tulsa Green Country area, nothing severe warned right now. Those severe risks are going to be out into far northeastern Oklahoma. Still a confirmed tornado going on just to the north of Stillwell into Westville right now. We have another severe thunderstorm warning for Fayetteville, reaching Fayetteville way faster than we expected it to. These storms moved a lot faster than we originally expected it to, but it is only warned right now for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Moving up to Joplin, Missouri, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail from Miami all the way into Joplin, Missouri. So that is what we have ongoing right now. Because I know we have a lot of questions in here. And then just a little update for tomorrow morning, because I think that most people are in here asking about Oklahoma. Let's look at tomorrow. So here's a look at your most updated run. We've gone through many, many runs tonight on this live stream here. And your most updated run, it's a 5Z run, which basically means that I won't explain it and clog your brain with weather jargon tonight. It's your most updated run of the HRRR or HRRR model. Here's where we are right now. Most of those storms, the severe storms, are out in the far eastern side of Oklahoma. But we still have a cluster of storms that are hugging anywhere from Stillwater to Kingfisher, right? You see that right here. So that's what we have ongoing right now. What we'll probably expect over the next few hours is for those storms to continue on into Tulsa, right along the Turner Turnpike. So it's going to rain. It's going to be loud. You're going to have lightning and thunder as you head into the early morning hours, where I guess we're already in the early morning hours. So the next few hours here, you're going to have a redevelopment of storms. So once again, we're going to see this line, excuse me, as storms come in again for your morning commute. So we're talking about 5, 6, maybe 7 o'clock Wednesday morning, storms anywhere from Oklahoma City all the way into Tulsa. Now, one thing that I do want to check on is the severity of these storms, and I hope that, oh man, let's see. Oh, perfect. Okay. It's going to show you the worn-on forecast, but this model run looks a little old, so they may not be showing that anymore. So let's go to a different model. Let's show you the NAM. So we were on the HER. Let's show you the NAM nest. See if there's any discrepancies here. Not too different. Basically ongoing storms into the early morning hours. Again, I really think that the severe risk with all of this stuff right here is going to be pretty low. You're going to see, here's what you're going to see. This right here, flooding. You see those very thin green lines right here? These are flash flood warnings that are warned because we have heavy rain in this area. About 1 to 2 inches of rain have already fallen. An additional rain, about a ½ inch to an inch and a half rain, is going to continue. This flash flooding is caused by thunderstorms. Just kind of reading through the National Weather Service's statement here. And that goes until 3 a.m. So again, what we're watching for in this area with all of this line of storms, people are asking about Enid, Muskogee, Okmulgee, Bristow. I've seen Sallisaw on here. Sallisaw, you're going to get some rain here in just a few minutes, but you don't have anything severe warned right now. Guthrie. Okay, so right, this entire area right in here, including Guthrie, your biggest risk right now is going to be that flooding risk. So if you have to hit the roads within the next hour, make sure that you know the routes that don't flood. You know that spot in your neighborhood that always seems to flood. You know that spot on your way to work that people always have to go around because it's always got water ponding on it. Avoid those spots today. Avoid those spots within the next few hours, and avoid those spots during your morning commute as well, because as we just talked about, and as you can see from your future radar right here, we have ongoing storms all the way through early tomorrow morning. Let me try that one more time. So here's your storms right now. And into your morning commute, we still have storms ongoing. So maybe the risk with these storms tomorrow morning, or I guess, Wednesday morning, there's a hail risk, there's a wind risk, but it's really low. The flood risk is going to be the main thing that we're watching out for here. We are just getting round after round of rain. So let me once again just show you what the risks that we have right now. The severe thunderstorm warnings that we have right now include Christie, Peavine, and Stillwell. Westville, Summers, Dutch Mills. So we're getting into Arkansas here, just to the south of Fayetteville. We are now transitioning from a confirmed tornado warning to a traditional tornado warning. That's what you see highlighted there in red. Radar indicated rotation. Shelter in these areas. So from West Peavine to Stillwell to Evansville to Summers to Lincoln, Brentwood, Greenland, just to the south of Fayetteville. Make sure that you guys are all sheltering in this area, okay? So that's going to be your main severe risk right now. And all right, I'm seeing some of our questions start to go down here. Not as many questions as what we were getting earlier. I know that there's a lot of nerves earlier. But I don't want to ever bring any nerves. We always say be prepared, not scared, right? And so I wanted to make sure that you guys knew, you know, sometimes we talk about these tornado warnings, these confirmed tornadoes, and everyone gets a little nervous, right? But I want to zoom out and just show you how much of us are not in a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Not in a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, flooding, sure. There's a lot of us not included in that severe thunderstorm warning. What we are watching for here is still that tornado warning right along the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line. Bentonville, Arkansas. Yeah, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning ongoing right now with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's what we call a garden variety thunderstorm warning. Jay, Oklahoma. Now, I have said so many town names tonight. I was like, I know where Jay is. I have to like zoom out and go back in. Jay, Oklahoma, not included in a severe thunderstorm warning anymore. You are going to have rain and probably some lightning and thunder for a little bit, but nothing severe right now. Jay seems to be better now. Yeah. And before I head out, because I told you that would be the last question that I was taking tonight, because we do have a noon forecast tomorrow that I actually have to get some sort of sleep for to be ready to alert people tomorrow, because we also alert people across the entire US. So we're talking about the risk for tomorrow, anywhere from southern Oklahoma, southeastern Oklahoma, into northern Texas, including Dallas tomorrow, all the way into southeastern Missouri, central and northern Illinois and Indiana, into Ohio, and into Michigan. So we have another round of storms for tomorrow through some very populated areas. And then through Thursday, we have another round of storms in the northern plains and out to the East Coast. So before I head out of here, I do want to give an update on some power outages here. We have some pretty significant power outages across Muskogee County, about 2,300. We also have some pretty significant power outages compared to the population in Cherokee County, about 600. About 9,000 customers without power in Tulsa County, and Creek County about 1,000 without power. We've got a lot without power as we go throughout all of these counties that got hit with storms tonight. Honestly, less than I expected. The last update that we had here with these power outages was at 1:19 this morning. So it was about 10 minutes ago. If you want to check power outages in your area, you can always head to poweroutage.us and you can see power outages across the entire country. And with that, thank you guys for joining us this evening. We appreciate you guys joining our live feed always. We cover, again, the entire country. And we have a noon forecast tomorrow that streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I think I got all of 4 different platforms there: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And then we do behind the scenes on TikTok every now and then as well. So thanks for joining us. We will see you tomorrow back here at noon for your noon forecast. Alrighty, well, we will see you then.